Welcome back to Dolor Factor Live. You have until 9:30 tonight to send in your answers. Here's a quick reminder of the questions. Name 3 Farron's ice cream flavors featured on Dolor Factor Live. 2 winners will be chosen tonight. Dawn, remind me to choose 2, okay? You're not going to be one of them. Tell us which island the cover girls of the latest issue of She Caribbean originate from to win the latest issue of She Caribbean for you and a friend. And what is MAC Cosmetics' philosophy? Tell us and win a bag of fabulous MAC products. And I have to say, they're really lovely prizes tonight. She Caribbean magazine has got something for everyone, fashion, you name it, everything is in there. And then Farron's, of course, you can choose whichever flavor of ice cream that you want. And then MAC Cosmetics, as I said, phew, I'm envious of this winner tonight. Now, we're talking about mass crowd events. And it is very important because when we do go out there, sometimes we think about what we're going to look at, but we don't think about our safety. Or perhaps if we see someone else ill, we don't even recognize or realize, we don't know what to do to help them. And just before the break, I asked a question to Glen regarding if someone falls down. I mean, what's the best thing to do? Because we're told so many different things. Do we leave them where they are? Do we put them in a more comfortable position? What do we do, Glen?
Well, someone falling, and you need to recognize the cause of the fall. Like, for example, in first aid, it is said that, for example, if someone was thrown from a height, or if somebody fell down a flight of stairs or something of that sort, in responding to that casualty, you need to treat them that they may have spinal injuries. And so therefore, in our society, one of the things that we do that is not so very good is that most of the time, the first thing that we do is that we move the casualty, which generally a first aider does not do. A first aider does not move a casualty. A first aider would be able to assess the situation, try to stabilize the casualty, and if they are in a life-threatening situation, that's when you move them. But if they're not, then you need to provide first aid where they are, but never move the casualty.
What if blood is gushing from a wound? I mean, actually gushing. The first instinct, I think people would be to do that, or we've been told to tie something around it. Is that the right thing to do?
Well, then, in the past, the tying, which is what is referred to as a tourniquet, it's probably still applicable, but not a first aider. A first aider should never tie to cut off circulation. When you have a casualty who's bleeding, and bleeding is considered to be a life-threatening situation, as adults we have just about 10 pints of blood in our circulatory system, and if you're losing it, then that means you're going to die. So as a first aider responding to a casualty who's bleeding, what you want to do is to first try to stabilize, and what you want to do is to try to control the bleeding. And how you do that, but first and foremost, remember your safety is paramount. So the first aider, because there's body fluids, even more so, you want to be very careful in providing first aid. So you want to make sure that you've protected yourself. So whether you put on gloves or you put on nylon bags or whatever it is, that will protect you. Then you will, the first aid procedure for bleeding is to apply direct pressure to the area that is bleeding by using your hand over a dressing and then bandaging that dressing in place. After you've done that, if you're able to elevate the affected area above the level of the heart, then that helps to slow down circulation. And very simple things. Actually,
say that again, but I don't mean to be rude. I just want to be very basic. Say that in our language, in terms of when you actually say the casualty, when you say the first aider, someone's at home might be saying the first aider and thinking it's somebody else, but it's not somebody else. It's
the
them.
person responding.
It's you. Yes,
it's you responding. Yes,
yes,
that helps.
you.
Yes.
If you are the person who's trying to help someone who needs help,
yes,
you have to
apply direct pressure to the area using a dressing. Now, a dressing is something that has to be large enough to cover up the wound because you want to prevent it from being infected. The beauty about first aid is that it is actually fashioned after how your body responds naturally to a situation. So, for example, if you're bleeding, one of the things that your body does, especially your white blood cell, is that once it realizes that your body's losing blood, your white blood cells quickly come up to the area where the wound is. And what they do is that they come together and they want to seal that area. Two things that they're trying to do. One, they don't want anything coming into the body, any foreign material, and they don't want you to be losing blood. Now, in our society, one of the things that we do not so good is that we actually go against that process. So, for example, majority of us have hydrogen peroxide at home and rubbing alcohol, and we use these for wounds. So we have a wound, and the first thing that we do is that we get our bottle of hydrogen peroxide and we pour it on there. And many of us like to see it bubble. Yep. Actually, you're going against how the body is responding naturally, because you are now fighting against the white blood cells, which is trying to prevent something from entering into the body, and you're introducing something, a chemical that clearly states on the label for external use only. So these again, and these are things that have been handed down to us. I was really taken back when this lady said to me while we're doing training, she said she looks like probably in her late 40s or so, and she said to me all her life she knew that if she was coming down with the flu or cold, she had to eat some Vicks Vapor Rub. And she said only recently she read the label, and the label says not for oral use. And I think that's another situation in our society again, is that we do not read labels, and the information is there for us, but we do not follow.
You ate what they gave you to rub.
Very much so, very much so. Yep, and she said all her life that's what because it's been handed down. Our mothers taught it to us, or our parents, and it was taught by their parents and so forth.
Let me go back to the mass casualties. What does that mean, mass casualties? What's the definition? And the second question is, let's say we are at a field or we're somewhere and we do experience mass casualties. How are we going to cope?
As someone,
can I ask Dawn to answer that one, please?
Mass casualty is referred to in medical terms. It's a medical. So you have a significant number of people being affected by the same event. So God forbid you're at a calypso show, you are at jazz, you are at cricket, and something happens at that event to cause a number of persons to get injured. It is referred to as a mass casualty. Now, there's something that the medical people do, the first responders, it's called triaging. What is it is you prioritize the injured, and they're color-coded. Black is dead, and red means they need immediate attention. Sometimes it's even surgery.
So how do you know it's black and it's red?
So they're trained, and what if they just, there's certain people in the system that all they do is they tag you. So something has happened in the event and they go out first and they tag you. So they just check you and they tag you. And it's actually a rule of thumb. There's a tag. There's a tag.
On a left hand or a right hand or
whichever limb they get, because depending on what it is, you may not have the limb.
Okay.
They tag you. So the next wave coming in are looking for the reds, because the dead will take off, will deal with after everything is done.
Yeah, that's your least priority.
Yeah, your least priority. Your greens and your yellows you can deal with as well later on. But the reds, you're looking for the reds as far as possible in that crowd. Right. Now, the Ministry of Health has indicated that they can handle most mass casualties, and they have said that if it's 20 or more, that is the number to trigger NEMO to get involved. But tonight, I heard on the news that the 2 theaters at Victoria Hospital have had to be shut down temporarily because of mold. This now affects our ability to deal with mass casualties, because if you have reds that need surgery, so tomorrow we're going to have some discussions in the Ministry of Health to find out what are the new protocols whilst this situation is unfolding at Victoria Hospital, because it's based on your ability to deal with those urgent cases.
Whose job is it to, for example, we are now in our carnival season, we've got the tents and so on going on. With this kind of news that we've heard today, we have tents and things happening from tomorrow night. Whose role would it be, or would somebody alert our organizers of the tents that, hey, listen, at this point in time, our casualties are temporarily closed. Well, please, reassure, go around and secure or whatever.
First of all, that information should have come through the system from the ministry. To be fair, I should not have had to hear it on the news. I should not, when I heard it on the news, it should have been stale news to me. The Ministry of Health needed to have had a meeting with NEMO, the fire service, the ambulance service, and all the emergency first responders to inform us that that was the situation and hear the new protocols. And then that would have cascaded down not just to the tents, because any of the event planners who take the time to engage the emergency services would then find out what the new challenges are as a result of what happened at the theatre.
But yes, when the events organizers, when they are applying for certain things, they would have had to apply to the ministry. So perhaps someone from the ministry.
Well, one of the agencies you are required to liaise with is the Ministry of Health, because they're the ones that would work on the mass casualty plan with you for that specific event.
Right.
So.
Because one glove does not fit all. So you have, and I know there have been occasions where the Ministry of Health is scrambling to find an event planner because they've heard on the news that something is happening, just like I said about the Labour Commissioner, that something is happening, and they are concerned that the event planner has not darkened their door yet to find out what would be the medical support to this event.
But you've taken the words out of my mouth. What is going to be the support now? What?
Well, I can't answer that.
I mean, it's very worrying.
It is.
It's extremely worrying because, you know, we have lots of people going out now for a very long time. This is not something that...
Well, you know, as of last night, we had certain parameters, and as of tonight, the parameters are different, and I can't answer that question, to be honest, until, you know, you can ask me tomorrow after I've spoken, if the powers that be, but I can't answer that question now.
Well, I think that's very, very worrying, to say the least, and I hope that the meeting is held very early in the morning so that we all know what we need to do in terms of looking after our health. Now, we've closed entries for the giveaways, but after the break, we'll take your calls. This is Dolor Factor Live on DBS. See you soon.